Up to now we've done all this with the nursery project. So next up to do is to get this built-in wardrobe sorted. There was previously a cupboard here, but it only went up to about this height. So rather than putting that back and having this top part open and like a shelf and storage being above, we thought, why not just build it all in and have a full height cupboard door even. So the door's going to open out this way, and then you'll have access into a big wardrobe. In this wardrobe I'm going to probably put a top shelf in that'll have room for some boxes at the top. I'll put a rail in, and then probably 2 more shelves, and then a base at the bottom. So I'm making all this out of 18mm MDF. I bought a sheet for the door, and I've had that cut in width for B&Q using their decent saw. So I obviously just need to cut it down in height. I'm going to use a piece of CLS to attach the cupboard door hinges to, nice and strong, and I'm going to put that on with hammer fixings because this is a brick wall. It's got plasterboard on top of it, so it doesn't necessarily sound like brick, but this is a solid brick wall, so I'll hammer fixing into that, then the hinges will be on there, and then it'll simply close against this part of the feature wall. So yeah, all pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to measure up and get the CLS cut down, and then I just need to cut the door height down, and at the bottom, I'm not sure if you can see, the skirting boards run all the way along, so there'll just be a base piece that sits flush with the skirting board, and then the cupboard door will also sit flush with the skirting board, and I'm going to router the edges to match the skirtings and to match the drawers that we upcycled. So yeah, all pretty straightforward. So I'm going to get the CLS cut down, get the door cut down, and see if it fits alright at the top. If it doesn't, if there's too much of a gap, or if it catches as it opens, we'll cut that short and get the piece cut in. But yeah, let's get cracking. So I've just cut this bit of CLS down, and now I'm going to attach this to the wall using some hammer fixings. So I'm going to use 4 fixings for this piece, so I'm just going to drill 4 holes through the timber, about there, 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 and one at the bottom. Oh, that's a blunt drill bit, but we'll persevere. Then you just get your level. Get everything level, and I'm just going to punch through where the holes are going to be, because this is plasterboard over brick, so I can mark it easy enough. Then you just want to drill your holes through a wall, in this case into the brick. Then I'm just gonna hammer these in. And we're all fixed. Nice and solid. This is the door. Let's just hope it now fits in place. So it does fit in place along the top, and as long as it opens and shuts properly, obviously it's going to be slightly higher than that is, because that's just sat on the skirting at the minute. Obviously it'll catch the skirting at that height, but there's a little bit height above. But I think it opens okay, and I think it looks fine, especially once it's obviously painted black, because you can currently see that shadow gap. But once that's rounded over and painted black, you're not going to notice that anyway. So I think that's going to be alright. What I'm now probably going to do is temporarily fix it in place. Just make sure it opens and shuts properly. I've only got 2 hinges. That had 2 hinges on. That small one. And that's fine for that, but you can see how much bigger this door is. So I'm going to add probably 2 more hinges. But just for fitting, I'm going to just put a hinge at the top and the bottom, leave space obviously for 2 more hinges, and then I'll add those when it's permanently fixed on. But what I'll do is I'll make sure it works fine. Then I'll machine all the edges so it's got the round over on. Then I can get it painted, get those edges sanded, and then yeah, get it varnished and fully painted and finished and all that sort of good stuff. A little bit tight for doing this in here, but it's very awkward getting that up and down the stairs at over 2 meters tall. So I just took these hinges off. These are just standard kitchen cupboard door hinges with soft close on them. Nice and easy. So they are 35mm. So I've just got a 35mm Forstner bit. If you don't know what Forstner bit is, it's one of those, and it's basically for cutting a hole out but not going all the way through. So you cut a hole like this, try not to destroy the place. You cut a hole like this that goes partially through, and then it's inset into the cupboard. So what I'm going to do is just measure this measurement so that I can mark the hole up. So I've just gone 200mm from the top, 200mm from the bottom, and then I'll put 2 more hinges in once I've got some more hinges. So what was my number? 25.5. Then I'm just going to drill those out with this Forstner bit. And then I'll just screw these into place, just making sure not to over tighten them because it's just into MDF. And you can quite easily strip the MDF, and then you've obviously got issues. But the piece sitting inside there adds to the strength, so that takes a lot of the weight, so there's not as much weight on them screws, so it's not a huge issue. I think the easiest way to do this is for me to go inside and screw it in from the inside, because it's just a bit awkward if not. So you're not really going to see much, but yeah, I'll screw it in from the inside. It's going to be, I can't film in there, it's too dark, and I've got nowhere to mount a camera, so I'll do that and then I'll show you how it's been mounted. I am just going to have to take a little bit off the top because it's getting to about there and it's just catching. So what I'll do is I'll just scribe that in. Just, literally just catching at the bottom. It's fine at that end. But it probably all wants about 5mm taken off, to be honest. Yeah, we'll take 5mm off the bottom as well. I took slightly less than 5mm off of the bottom, so I'm hoping that fits alright. But if not, I'll just have to go and take a little bit more off. Moment of truth. Perfect. It's not hanging too badly off the 2 hinges. I'm still going to add the extras because it's surprisingly strong actually. But I am still going to add the extras because there's no harm in it. I'll probably add 2 more. It'll give it extra soft close as well. Not sure how well the soft close works with a heavy door on just 2. Can't imagine well. No, not bad to be fair. I'm going to add the extra hinges anyway though. It's got a slight tendency to bend a little bit in this middle. So with an extra, maybe I'll just put an extra 1 in actually. Probably just put 1 in there. That'll just stop that flex, because if that's solid, there's hardly any flex in between there and there. So I'll just put 1 more in. This piece of MDF was originally the top sort of shelf part of the old cupboard that was there. So I'm going to reuse this as the base. All I had to do was just cut a little bit off the front from where it's going to meet up to the skirting board and notch this piece out for the CLS. So I'm hoping that this will then fit in here pretty much perfectly. And it looks like it is pretty close, which is what we like. So what I'm going to do is, well, for a start, empty all the stuff out of the base rather than leaving it in there. And how I'm going to attach this is I've got these just little angle brackets, and I'm going to fit them to the back of the skirting board and to the side where the this is obviously good. This will just screw straight into the plywood, and then the back we'll have to put some wall plugs into. So I'm going to fit it just 18mm down for the skirting board, and then the base piece will sit flush with the top of the skirting board. That's the plan anyway. So for these front brackets, what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of 18mm, well, the piece that I cut out for there, so 18mm MDF. So that's going to go there. Then the bracket will just sit underneath. I'll just position it so that it's flush with the top, and then screw that in. That's all them in place, so hopefully this now sits down onto here quite nicely. And oh, it's so tight. I think that will knock down into place, you know, but I don't want to knock it down into place and it gets stuck and it not be right. Should I go for it? I'm going for it. Well, that fits well. I'm going to put a bead of foam in, just a tiny bit, then I'll cut it away and I'll cork it anyway, because the gaps are absolutely fine to be corked. I was planning on fixing this down somehow, probably just bedding it on some adhesive onto the things, but it's well stuck in. So that's nice and solid now. I'm not going to do the other shelves at the minute because I need some other bits of MDF for doing some work on the cot, and I'm going to use the same sheet of MDF to then make these shelves out of. I have got the old door, but it's got the hinges cut, so I'll save this for something else. No doubt it'll get used for something. Nice big sheet of 18mm MDF, and I'll use the offcuts because I need a full sheet for what I'm doing with the cot anyway, so there's going to be offcuts that'll fit into here as shelves. What I will do now is I'm going to give this a coat of paint. So I'm going to at first take the door off to paint this inside edge, then I'll paint the top as well, and then I'll paint the rest of it with it on the mounted on the hinges, just because it's a bit easier. So I'm going to take it off, paint these two edges, then I'll put it back on, paint everything else. I'll open the cupboard, I'll give it a coat of paint on the inside. So it's Tuesday night now. I'm not gonna be in town until Thursday, so I'm gonna get the MDF then, the door, and I'll be able to then finish this on Friday and do the cot on Friday as well. So I'll get this painted. Tomorrow I'll sand this edge down, paint the second coat on everything. Then, so that'll be Wednesday. Then on Thursday I can get this varnished, and then on Thursday evening I'll pick up the rest of the materials for it, That means on Friday I can get the shelves fitted, everything else finished, and then I should be able to do the cot as well. The cupboard's fully painted inside and out, and I've also painted just that little edge piece of CLS so that it matches in with the cupboard. So now I'm going to use this same Everbuild clear varnish that I used on the radiator cover and all the skirtings and the architrave and well, basically on everything here. So I'm going to get this varnished, and then I'm not sure what hardware I'm going to use for a handle. I've got some more of the handles that I used on the upcycled drawers. They're obviously meant to be used horizontally. You can use them vertically, so I might just use one of them, or I might just buy a doorknob or something for it. So I get this painted, and then that is the wardrobe pretty much done cosmetically. The only thing I'll need to still do is add the shelves inside. So there's going to be a bottom shelf and a top shelf, and then I've also got a rail, adjustable rail, so that'll go in there to obviously hang clothes from. So yeah, nearly there. This varnish, they specifically state to use a brush rather than a roller, and after using it I can see why I would normally favour a roller just to get a nicer finish, especially with something like varnish or like a satin paint or something. It's not so bad on like a matte emulsion, but I can see why they suggest it because it's got a massive tendency to bubble. I don't know if it's because it's water based or what, but I think if you applied this with the roller you would just get bubbles galore, and the bubbles dry white. So your finish would just be a mess if you used a roller, I think.
As always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.